You will hear a number of different recordings and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. Write all your answers in the listening question booklet. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You're going to listen to a telephone conversation between a student and a personnel manager about a job interview. First, you will have some time to look at questions 1 to 4. You see there is an example which has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning, All Life Insurance Agency.
Yes, I'm phoning about a job you advertised in this morning's paper.
Oh yes, I'll put you through to the personnel manager, Mr. Black. Could I have your name, please?
Yes, it's Michael Fowler.
Good, just a moment.
Michael said his name is Michael Fowler. So Michael Fowler has been written in the note. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not listen to the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Good morning, All Life Insurance Agency.
Yes, I'm phoning about a job you advertised in this morning's paper.
Oh yes, I'll put you through to the personnel manager, Mr. Black. Could I have your name, please?
Yes, it's Michael Fowler.
Good, just a moment.
Hello, Black speaking.
Mr. Black, I'm Michael Fowler. Fowler. I'm phoning about your advertisement for a trainee salesperson.
Oh yes. How old are you, Michael?
17, sir.
Still at school?
Yes, I'm in Year 11 at Kneebone High School.
And what subjects are you doing?
English, maths, commercial and legal studies, accountancy and history.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 5 to 10. And have you had any holiday jobs or anything like that?
Well, I worked at the discount supermarket in West Street during the Christmas holidays.
I see. And do you think you'd make a good salesman?
Yes, I think so.
OK, Michael. Well, could you come in for an interview, say 4:30 on Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Good. We're on the 10th floor of the LPU building in Plaza Street. And could you bring your birth certificate and your last school report with you?
Yes, sir.
One more thing. I have to fill the form out.
OK.
Tell me your address, please.
I live in 10 Eagle Street, Tamworth.
10 Eagle Street, Tamworth. And your phone number?
It's 810-6745.
Good, Michael. That's it. Then see you on Thursday.
Thanks again. See you then.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. Section 2. You will hear a policeman give the students safety and security advice. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14. Well, hello everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me here, and it's very pleasant to have a chance to talk to you about some things which are obviously very much on everybody's minds. I want to talk about 3 areas of security, safety. Firstly, bicycles. I know a lot of you have bikes. Secondly, housing, whether private or college housing. And finally, I'll mention a word or two about personal security. So firstly, bikes. When you get your bike, whether it's new or second-hand, bring it as soon as possible to the police station. There we'll be able to stamp it with a serial number. We'll actually stamp it into the metal. We'll register the number, put it on our list. Okay, this is a great deterrent to criminals if they realise there's a number stamped on it. Make sure you buy a good lock. It can be expensive, but it's never a waste of money. If you have an expensive bike, it's worth buying 2 locks. If you have quick-release wheels, you can fit 1 lock at the front and 1 at the back. Do spend money on a good lock. The cheap locks can be very, very easy to cut. Make sure you lock the bike to something permanent. Though, do be considerate to pedestrians. And if the worst happens, you lose your bike, immediately report it to us, quoting that serial number that you should have had stamped. Before you hear the rest of the introduction, you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 15 to 20. OK, housing. Well, if you're in college accommodation, a few points to bear in mind. You'll notice the doors of your college rooms have 2 types of lock, a Yale lock and a Chubb lock. Make sure you double lock your door. Not just 1 lock, both of them, however long you're going out for. Some people go out for a short time and they think they don't need to double lock the door. You should always double lock the door. Make sure when you go out all the windows are closed. Those of you in the ground and first floor college rooms will notice that you've got locking windows. Make sure you use them. Lock them every time you go out. Lock them at night. If you've got expensive equipment in your college room belonging to you or the college, first of all, insure it. So many people lose things and haven't got insurance. Make sure you insure it and make sure that you register it either with the college or with the police. Again, for a small fee, we can actually stamp the serial number onto most types of equipment. For those of you in private accommodation, again, make sure there's a good lock on the front door. Make sure you know who exactly has a key to the door, how many people. Again, check the windows closed properly. Make sure you leave them closed whenever you go out and put a safety chain on the door. That means you can open the door a couple of inches, find out who is at the door, and of course let them in if you know who they are, or stop them from coming in if you don't know who they are. This brings me on to personal security. I think it hardly needs saying. Wherever possible, avoid walking alone late at night, especially women. Avoid dark streets. A lot of streets in this town are very badly lit. Try and stick to the well-lit streets wherever possible. Carry something noisy with you. A whistle is an excellent idea. A whistle is cheap. It can make a lot of noise very quickly in any kind of emergencies. Carry a whistle with you. Also, if you know you're going to be out late, make sure you've got enough money for a taxi to get home again, or arrange to stay with friends closer to where you'll be during the evening. It may sound absurd, but don't forget, the university actually offers free self-defense classes. I hope it's something you'll never have to use, but it's certainly worth going along to a few self-defense sessions. All this sounds a little bit extreme. I think perhaps the way to sum it up is to say that sensible precautions could prevent serious problems. I think a few small steps prevent much worse things happening. OK, are there any questions at this stage? That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to Section 3. Section 3. You will hear a conversation between a teacher and two students on FBT Award. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Come in. Sandra and Derek. Come in, come in.
Good morning, Dr. Warner.
Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning, Dr. Warner.
Good morning, Derek.
We know you're busy, but have you got a moment?
Yes, for the moment I'm free. What can I do for you?
We just wanted to ask your advice about applying for awards.
All right. Which awards are you interested in?
Well, I'm interested in the FBT Award for a grant to travel abroad.
And I'd like to apply for the Bissaka Travel Award for a research grant in entomology in Jordan.
OK, you do know that you have to satisfy a number of criteria to be eligible for each award.
Yes.
The book is here somewhere.
Right, here it is. For you, Derek.
Let's see, the FBT Award. The conditions for that are you have to be in your 4th year, as you are.
OK.
You have to be a British or Commonwealth citizen, so you're OK on that one as well.
Yes.
And you have to come in the top 5 students in your year in your finals.
Right. Well, obviously that I won't know until I've taken my exams.
No, but you should put in the application now, as the deadline is the end of June. No, sorry, it's May. And that's before the exams even start. So they expect you to tell them afterwards.
And are there any other criteria?
Let's see. Well, it says here you have to be under 25 years of age at the end of your final year. Are you?
I won't be 25 until September the 27th, so that's OK. And do I need any referees?
Yes, 2. And I'm happy to do one for you, and...
I was also thinking of asking Dr. Jameson.
Yes, I'm sure he'll gladly do one for you.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen carefully and answer questions 27 to 30.
And Sandra.
Yes.
The Bissaka Award is a lot stricter, and it's for a much larger sum of money. And you must realise that the competition is very stiff indeed.
Yes, I've heard it's not easy to get one, as there are only 3 per year.
Yes, you're right. Unlike the FBT Award, for which there are 10 bursaries. The first thing you have to know is that application is by way of a 5,000-word summary outlining how you intend to use the money. Of course, accompanied by a covering 1-page form with all your personal details.
Yes, I know about that, but what I wanted to know is whether there are examples of other applications I can look at.
Well, not really. The summary has to be very much an original piece, and that I cannot emphasise enough. If there are any signs of it having been copied, then...
I see, but will you be able to read it through for me?
Oh, I don't see why not.
Oh, that's all right then. What do you think my chances are of my getting one of the grants?
It's difficult to say. There's usually about 20 to 30 people applying every year.
And this year?
Well, I'd imagine it's about the same.
Who decides?
Well, there's a panel of 5 trustees, and once you've submitted everything to the departmental secretary, they each receive a copy of your full application.
But do you think I stand a chance?
Well, as I said, it's not easy to say. It's up to the trustees.
OK.
Another thing that I would stress is that the applications must be typed, very tidy and properly bound.
With a ring binder?
Yes, there have been complaints in previous years about the lack of care taken in completing the forms and essays. This applies to you too, Derek.
Yes, well, it's only fair. After all, we are asking for help.
Yes. Is there anything else I can help you with while you're here, Sandra?
No, thank you very much for all your help.
Derek?
No, and thank you for your help.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4. Section 4, you will hear a talk given by Mrs. Beverly Evans about the Borchester Hospital Trust. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 34. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 34. Welcome everyone to this final session of the Borchester Health Authority's Nurse Orientation Programme. We are very pleased to welcome Mrs. Beverly Evans, who is the chairman, or should I say chairperson, of the Borchester Hospital Trust. All you nurses will know how valuable the work of the Trust is to us, and Beverly is going to bring us up to date with some of the things the Trust has been doing. Beverly.
Thank you, Dr. Groves, for inviting me to talk to this group. I'm sure you'd like me to start with the good news. Most importantly, I can report on the Hospital Trust's standards for last year. Well, one rough guide is how happy the public were with our service. I am happy to report that 5,961 letters of appreciation were received by the Trust, whilst there were only 57 letters of complaint. I'm sure that we don't want any letters of complaint at all, but I'm sure you'll feel that this is a good result. On the topic of public relations, we have recently established a visitors' charter to inform the public what standards to expect. These standards are now displayed in all patient areas, for instance on ward notice boards. An area of particular concern is that of patients with special needs. One recent initiative is a policy where all patients who have hearing problems have their records marked with a sympathetic ear symbol, only with their consent, of course. This will mean that anyone dealing with those whose hearing is impaired will be aware of the problem from the onset. Now on to general topics. The main entrance is being improved. You've all seen the plans, I'm sure, and you've walked round the building work. Sorry about that. Well, the work actually started a few months ago. I'm very happy to tell you the work is progressing well and is on budget and on time. By next June, we will have a brand new entrance hall, which will be much better than the old one.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 35 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 35 to 40.
We've received a few suggestions which would help patients. An interesting one is that staff who can speak another language should wear a badge to show this. Well, we've worked on this and have now identified speakers of Welsh, Urdu and Arabic. Soon these staff will be sent badges to wear to show they are bilingual. We're hoping to add further languages to this scheme very soon, by the autumn at least. Now, fundraising. As you know, our local newspaper is supporting the cancer appeal. The public's response continues to be excellent, and many donations are received every day. Many members of the public have contacted us with fundraising plans. There are a lot of interesting ideas, but a really good one is for an open-air twilight dinner in the local park. But given our weather, I feel that a large tent would be a good precaution. Other more traditional ideas are for sponsored bike rides and sponsored sea swimming. Details of these and the necessary sponsor forms will be available shortly. Lastly, a report on patient feedback within the chemotherapy unit. We undertook a survey 18 months ago, questioning 50 first attenders and 150 re-attenders in the unit. I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that all, yes, all of these patients felt they were made welcome and were treated courteously at all times. Nearly all, 96%, felt they had their treatment explained satisfactorily, and 98% found the facilities in the day unit to be very good. A small number of areas need to be improved. One is more car parking, more toilet facilities, and better areas for private discussions. But I'm happy that the survey was so positive.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.